entrepreneurs and for civilians in their private life.
Understand this.
The system in which we live, Charlie, is a, well, we all know, we have seen the movie Matrix, and it is a matrix. It's reversed from how it's really, how life really should be. Like you said, God created man and earth and all the resources that we have. And below God, there will be an elected government. And acting in the interest of the man. Underneath that comes a corporation. But our current system does exactly the opposite. It places corporations and governments above us, above the people, the individuals. And in fact,
going back to the start of my journey back in June of last year, I started in March of last year, but in June, I did a video with Jack Kidd describing Nasara. What?
I saw that one.
Yeah, Nasara and Jasara. And just so that people know, the law of the seas is consistent worldwide, and Nasara and Jasara does away with that. And every single country and territory in the world signed up to Nasara and Jasara. This was a few years ago when Donald Trump's team traveled the entire globe to make sure that everybody was included. And one very interesting fact is one of the first countries to sign up to Jasara was North Korea. And that just tells you something, that they knew that they no longer had the Communist Party of China that they could depend on. And I think Donald Trump probably spelt that out to him when he was meeting him. And another very interesting thing is we're seeing a pantomime right now, but the relationship, funnily enough, between Iran and the military in America is extremely close. Forget the pantomime of little Joey Biden.
Yeah, today he bumped or something. Not true.
Oh, the guy's a lunatic. Well, the clone's a lunatic. I mean, he doesn't even look like the real one. Somebody said to me they reckon it's Jim Carrey in a mask. I said, you're probably right with that one. Except Jim Carrey's probably a bit smarter than Biden. I mean, I was talking to somebody the other day that said they've got so many, if they ever needed them, not that they do, they have so many disgusting movies of either Joey or his son Hunter with young children. It's disgusting, and yet none of the mainstream media. This will destroy mainstream media. Not one of them has ever published anything to do with the sick world that the Biden family live in. I mean, they have done no research at all, and they're pointing out this, that, and the other, and they're so contaminated, so corrupted that when it gets exposed, the mainstream media are going to go down with a massive bang, and then it'll fall at people. It'll fall at people's doors like you and I to tell people the truth. And we're actually forming a community right now of around 200 to 300 truth seekers, and we're going to have an annual conference every year, starting hopefully this year in Mar-a-Lago in Florida.
Hello. You can hear the chant, not the post. Don't nobody want this mommy because we not in China. Everybody hated Trump and now they out to catch a body. That's what they get for treating us like we in square games. Green light, day, like you said.
Florida. But we're going to bring we're going to bring people together. We're going to bring people together, and we've got a huge announcement coming out in the next a few days, weeks, a huge announcement coming out that is the start that it will be put out to all of the truth seekers at the same time in the same format. But the one thing we know for a fact is that they won't be edited by the truth seekers. They'll put the truth out as is.
We begin in the United States, where there are new details tonight about Monday's FBI raid on Donald Trump's estate in Florida. U.S. media is reporting agents may have been looking for documents related to nuclear weapons. So let's get right to Katie Simpson in Washington. Katie, it sounds very alarming, but can you take us through the details tonight?
Now, this is according to the Washington Post. FBI agents searched former President Donald Trump's Florida home for classified documents relating to nuclear weapons. The Post is citing people familiar with the investigation, and agents were reportedly looking for other documents as well, but there are no specifics being reported on that just yet. It remains
whereas the mainstream media always edit it and chop it around and change it around. Those days are over. We're going to put the truth out about something that's happening right now, but it will come out through the platforms of truthful social media. We've been infiltrated by some naughty ones that claimed that they were patriots, but they were just
all are.
they were just Pinos, patriots in name only.
It remains unclear if the documents reported by the Post were actually seized during that search. Attorney General Merrick Garland would not offer any clarity when he spoke for the first time since Monday's search. He announced that the Department of Justice is seeking to unseal the search warrant in this case, since Donald Trump already confirmed it happened and given the intense public interest.
Material about nuclear weapons is especially sensitive and usually restricted to a small number of government officials. How exactly is it possible that they were even allowed to be handled so recklessly? And what could Trump have been doing with these documents? Like, who stands to gain? What would he be doing taking these documents out of the White House?
It's incredible. I mean, these are our nation's most precious secrets. And the fact that he took them to his private residence, out of the White House, out of control, in an unsecured environment, protected apparently by a padlock, it's just extraordinary. I was the classifying authority for Department of Defense nuclear weapons information.
Okay. Yeah, unfortunately. But, you know, that's also, you know, I always think we have no real influence on what's being done on military level or on geopolitical level. We can, for sure, take action on our personal level, and we should. And that's something that gives you a lot of confidence as well, because there are many people that are very afraid or scared, and they don't know what will happen. Well, nobody knows exactly what will happen, but you can make sure that what happens to you, that you take autonomy in your own actions.
Nuclear weapons information, and the release of this information, this top secret compartmented information, by definition, would cause exceptionally grave harm to national security.
Indeed, it would. And I'm just curious from you, Andy, who on the world stage would have the most to gain from this information? I mean, you think about Donald Trump's relationships with the Saudis, his relationship with the Russians, and the fact that he really appears to have no allegiance to America. He has allegiance to his sycophants, but certainly not to this democracy. If someone were to ask you, like, who stands the most to gain from this information, give me a guess of who might that be.
Charlie, this is
It's huge. It's brilliant, isn't it?
Huge. This is good news, eh?
It's amazing news, and Ronald has done.
Well, we don't know what information was in these documents, but my best guess would be President Putin would stand the most to gain to having access to our most classified nuclear weapons information.
Which is a frightening thought, Glenn. So given that this could really be a situation where you're a traitor, he's actually a traitor to America.
So that's a fourth, an important advantage. And then I told you, and you remember that one very well. You're already a rich man, but I said, in your birth trust, there is even more money.
Yep.
Lots of money, which is very interesting because, you know, our Princess Amalia, we have a princess in Holland as well, and she gains $1.5 million each year might come from the birth trust. She was in time saying, I'm the rightful heir.
Unbelievable.
Huh? But we were not. So now we said, well, we are a rightful heir too, so give us our money, which is on your 7th birthday, lots of money was put in your secret banking account, and then in time, the syndicate traded with that money. It made a fortune, interest on interest on interest on interest. So by now, there is a lot of money inside that birth trust you have. Now, I don't believe anybody saw that money yet, except Princess Amalia, but it is there. And we told the trust department, the tax department, they said, well, you just give us 4,000 euros a month for for the time being, until the full money can be given to us. The trust can be given to us. And so that's another thing. And so you can pay lots of things out of that trust. You're a wealthy man. 1.5 million a year is an indication for the trust fund in the Netherlands and Belgium alone. So that's a very nice advantage. And then, of course, all your life, we have been paying money in taxes, in mortgages, in fines, in whatever, that to a corporation. It feels like extortion, actually. Yeah. So with as a rightful heir, there is a document available, a settlement document, where you can claim back that money.
That's nice. Perfect.
And you might say, well, is that really so? You can find all the documents on the website, especially the Dutch and the Belgian people, because it is in Dutch. And we're working on an English version of all the documents. And I'm so happy because it's made very easy now for people to just fill in the forms and send out the documents.
Well, we'll put all the links down below on the video here. All of the links will be here so that you can go and find out for yourself. But I can assure you that Ronald and Brian are absolutely bang on right, and Martin Geddes, bang on right. I've done a lot of research myself into the common law courts in England, in Canada. There's common law courts everywhere. And when you start to establish the truth, and then I tell you what, the biggest wake-up call, forget the courts. When you realize how much money's in your name in an account that they're using, that'll motivate you. Because through the last year where you've lost an absolute fortune and probably lost your business, while somebody else is screwing you, we're just going to tell you how to get your money out of where it is right now so that you can get yourself back on your feet. And this is a real exciting time to be alive. But as I said, all the links are down below. And this is a wake-up call. And I think we should redo this again and do a part 2 on this, because this is where people need. If this doesn't wake you up to the truth, then nothing will.
I don't know what I will do. Yeah.
The virus didn't wake you up. The vaccine didn't wake you up. The riots didn't wake you up. The 5G didn't wake you up. The alien invasion didn't wake you up. If you wake up to the fact you got 20 million sat in a bank account in your name, if you don't wake up with that, then you deserve to be asleep.
Well, Charlie, what we were discussing, I said, listen, if you have your grandparents or your parents in a home, for instance, the money they have in their inheritance will go and flee back to the system if you don't tell them you're the natural heir. And that gives a whole different feeling when we now see that they will first get their shots and everything, because the genocide that's taking place is all about money as well.
Also about this birth trust, about this money in your secret bank account.
If you didn't stood up and said, I'm alive, I'm still alive,
then it goes.
I'm sorry, but then the money goes
to the system.
Yeah.
Now everyone has to wake up on this. Come on. What are we talking about here?
Some people are in a coma, Brian.
Yeah, you're right.
But look, we're doing everything we can to wake you up, and we'll be here to help you when you do wake up to understand what is actually going on. But the evidence is there. It's been tried and tested, and we've gone through it thoroughly, not just in Holland, not just in Belgium and England and America and Canada, We're transitioning now